I call the City of Clear Lake Shores City Council meeting, regular meeting to order, February 4th, 2020 at 6:30. All members are present. We'll stand for pledge allegiance to the flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. All right, we'll get off item number 3, report from council. Councilman Mark Thompson.
I have something to say. February 22nd, coming up here in a couple weeks, is the second annual Clear Lake Shores Cajun Cook-Off and 5K Fun Run. The 5K Fun Run will start at Jarbo Bayou Park at 8 a.m. We make the 5K, which is around the island, down the center, Clear Lake Road, and back up the east side. Following the 5K Fun Run, there will be the golf cart parade, which I believe is going to start at 11:30, which will end at Okies Yard House and Park for the Cajun Cook-Off. There's a band, the Zydo Kadots, will be playing between 1 and 4. There will also be a gumbo stroll between 2:30 and 4 p.m. and tickets are $10. All proceeds go to the Clear Lake Shores Civic Club. If you're interested in signing up for the 5K Fun Run, please go to clsgumbo.com.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. All right, Councilwoman Christy Lyons.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Angie Terrell.
Last year, the City of Clear Lake Shores, as well as the City of Kemah, decided to invest in the children of Stewart Elementary by contributing to the Leader in Me program that they had started as a fledgling program last year. Last Thursday, they had their first open house to display what the students have learned and what they're teaching them and what these 7 habits of leadership are that they're encouraging these children to learn at the tender age of 4 to develop effective leaders. It's kind of based on the 7 habits of highly effective people is what it's based on, except for we're cultivating this in children aged 4 and on up. To say that I was blown away by what they have done with these children and the fact that we have this in a public school in our small city is an understatement. These children are well-spoken. They are comfortable speaking with adults as well as their peers. They are comfortable explaining their activities and just an ongoing effort to create amazing leaders in these children. And for my however many years of being on this earth and being involved in leadership activities, I can tell you these kids are on their way, and it is absolutely amazing. Just really proud that Clear Lake Shores invested in our children in this way.
All right, thank you, Angie. Councilwoman Jan Bailey.
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Jan. And Councilwoman Amanda Fenwick.
For those of you who are interested, the Lower Clear Creek and Dickinson Bayou Watershed study is going to have several public meetings around here the next couple of weeks, intended to provide input, engage in one-on-one discussions, and have general public ask questions regarding the first 3 phases of the study. This came about after Hurricane Harvey. So we all know that was a rain event around here and not a storm surge event, and so the watersheds are looking at ways to improve, to potentially help from that happening again. So I have information. I pass it on to the mayor and to Audrey in case they want to post it on the city's website, but there's meetings in League City, Seabrook, and Friendswood between now and it looks like March 5th. If anyone's interested, I can share that information. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Amanda. And just for my report, I have set a date for coffee with the mayor. It will be March 7th, I believe at 10 o'clock. And that'll be a dual meeting with council and EDC can be in attendance with that. And then just lastly, I wanted to say appreciate all the council members and all the hard work y'all do. Jan, Angie, Amanda, Mark, and Christy, day in and day out. It's very important, everything that you do. And it's elections are coming up, and 3 positions are up for elections, but encourage those 3 spots to rerun. Also encourage any citizens out there to run for those positions, but just really want to emphasize on the support that I've received. I really appreciate it.
I'm sorry, what did you say the date with coffee with the mayor was?
March 7th.
That's what I thought.
You are more than welcome. We enjoy having you.
All right, staff reports, Police Department, David Donaldson.
Yes, Mayor and Council, traffic contacts were up January compared to December, 29.6%. DWIs were flatlined at 0%, no increase or decrease. Narcotic-related offenses were up 10%.
Is the microphone, please?
Narcotic-related incidents were up 10%. 36 arrests, that includes warrant arrests, also for outstanding warrants. 7 deaths, 5 assist other agencies. 92 residential checks, business checks 1,318. That's because we're staying over at Target, constantly checking the new construction, Home Depot. And that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Assistant Chief
Thank you.
Donaldson.
Thank you.
Next is Building Official Kevin Harrell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. From our last meeting, I've issued 13 permits. I issued a permit for 413 Pine, that is Nancy Schwartz's home. It will be demoed here in the next week or two. I also improved the construction of the home, replacing it. Target is ongoing, seems to be going very well. I've gotten a few comments from citizens that the construction's been very quiet and ongoing and nothing, nothing bad. Last night, Planning and Zoning approved a 12-lot subdivision that is going to be next to Portofino Harbor. That will be our first subdivision in 93 years since the island was originally subdivided. Code enforcement, I currently have 4 cases, 2 waterfront leases, 1 fence, and a culvert cleanup. That's all I have.
Thank you, Kevin. And tonight we have somebody new from Kemah Volunteer Fire Department, and I'm bad on names and I forgot already, so go and remind me who you are again.
Rob Steckler.
Ross Eckler, okay. It'll take me a couple times, but
Oh,
I
no
promise
worries.
I'll get it right, all right?
No worries.
Thanks, Ross. Go ahead.
Rob.
Rob.
Sorry.
See? I already got it wrong.
We'll start. I'll give both December and January since I don't think anybody was anybody here for the December meeting?
Nope.
Or January meeting, I guess? No, okay. So I'll fill in December statistics and January statistics as well. Total call volume for December was going to be 48. Actually, for the first time, we saw an increase in fire department related calls. We had 30 calls for fire department call service, so that'd be rescue, VA, fire alarms. And then first responder calls was down below that, which is the first time. But it is our slow season, so we had 22 on that one. In January, January we had 27 calls. In the Clear Lake Shores region, so I don't have the statistics on December simply because that book has been closed and Robert's closing it out for the end of the year. But what I do have for January, we have 5 medical calls. In the Clear Lake Shores region, we've got 13 total medical calls for the fire department, and then 19 calls for fire alarm. Quite a significant increase in our fire alarm activity. We had one just recently, and we're getting a lot of disregards, but we're trying to follow up on the disregard calls anyways. Anytime that they call, to investigate, even if they disregard us, you'll still see us make scenes, simply because we've been disregarded to the Baton incident, and that almost burned completely to the ground on a fire alarm. That was disregarded. So you'll always see us on those calls, maintain or go to the calls. In January, we held ESP elections. Made a decision with a turnover changes. ESP members had been on for 2 years and decided to hold a vote. Steve Ruthstrom was an ESP member. He's going to maintain his position on the ESP for another 2 years. We did find a new member when it went out in the election. His name is Travis Hudson. Longtime member. He had taken a few years off, but he's been back for about 3 years, 2 years now. Incredibly active, incredibly knowledgeable, very fire department heavy, volunteer as well. Since January, we've had 9 applicants for the volunteer status. We have 5 that were former members coming back with they're just credentialed, and so what that means for us, I don't want to bore anybody, it means they're certified. They have the qualifications to get on a truck. We do have 4 applicants right now that we're going to have to put through the paces, and so the problem currently with the Bay Area and the Galveston area is they generally use COM for their training, and COM only does one of these trainings a year. So we're working with Nassau Bay, Seabrook. League City always does their own academy, but the other surrounding communities, we're getting some volunteers coming in, and so we're hoping that we can put together a training program that we can take what we have right now, any that we've missed over the next March, April, May, and start pushing those through as well.
All right.
Any questions?
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Rob. I got it right. All right. Galveston County Health District's not here. Amy. City Administrator Brent Spear.
Good evening. Welcome to Chief Steckler. Nice to finally get to meet you. So hope to work with you into the future.
Trying to communicate my number out. I do have a 9 to 5, which isn't really 9 to 5, but I do work for an oil and gas company. We'll see me bounce sort of everywhere.
Okay.
I live by my phone and my laptop.
As far as what's going on in the city, police chief search is winding up. Identified 3 finalists. I've spoken to 2 of them, and they're confirmed for on-site interviews. Awaiting the 3rd, and haven't visited my computer in a couple hours, so maybe he's answered back. Again, as a reminder, that was 26 applicants, and we're down to 3. I had 6 that qualified for the requested requirements, and after doing some due diligence, pared that down to 3. Hope to have a recommended candidate within 2 weeks or less. A reminder for people that want to run for council and put in a lot of extra hours and do a lot of research, please go ahead and sign up by December 14th. Make sure you bring your notarized form, and it's completely filled out by that time. We can't notarize it in the office. On roads and drainage, I met with Cobb Finley, Road and Drainage Chair Richard Sowery, and we walked through Tyndall. Tyndall is going through some rework. We also have a little rework, I think it's down in Queen, where the speed bump was. That's been removed, and now it's a speed divot. It's very deep, so you got to slow down even more to get through there. But that's going to be rectified, and getting that fixed. And on Tyndall, there's been some grinding of that asphalt, and we've communicated our concerns, and the engineers are communicating their concerns to the contractor. At this point, he's reworking it, he's responsible for it, but we're hopefully moving forward with that. And we have some water that we need to move around and get to that catch basin. So that's taking place. There is an adjustment to an ordinance later on that addresses some pool rules. Been working with the pool committee to hopefully streamline and take a little bit of the harshness out of our pool rules. It's a long laundry list, and when you go over there, you get about 3 into it, and by the time you're done reading, you don't care to go down the rest of that list. So we reprioritized that, made some changes to some of the age groups, which was necessary, and identified maybe some clarification on some policies. So that will appear further on the agenda. We did have a pool inspection by Galveston County yesterday, and they identified that we needed some additional markings on the deck and some flow indicators on some of our lines, so we'll be working on that. I'll get that written report and get that taken care of. Let's see, on the change order 2, which is EDC Lee parking lot, just so you're up to date on that. Met yesterday on site with engineers, the contractor, the asphalt supplier, and our geotech firm, and we wanted to make sure that we had everything in identified and in process, so that's been clarified. They're trying to get this done as quickly as possible and could possibly start on Thursday. However, there's a they have to work with the lime producer for the stabilizing material, and they already have a production schedule, so we're trying to get our product pushed through there. The intent is to close that lot for about 3, possibly 4 days, and allow this work to take place, so there's no other cars on there. They're going to have it torn up. They're going to have equipment all over the place and a stack of parking bumpers, and so it won't be very usable. But the intent is to get it done in that 3 or 4 days, and then hopefully have it done in time for Valentine's Day, and then our Cajun cook-off and all the other activities as we go into the warmer weather. So we're kind of working against that clock, but they're all on board, and we're working with that, or they're working with that supplier to get that taken care of. If that does come to fruition, I will hand-deliver letters to the businesses that are out there, and Adri's going to roll it out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So if you're connected to the city in any of those regards, you'll at least know what's going on. So just so you're aware. So hopefully we can put that to bed and be done with it. We will have an MD Anderson blood drive. That's going to be Friday, June 5th, and get that on the calendar. That'll take place on the Lee parking lot across from Okies. Okies, I think, is going to sponsor snacks or something up there. So just like last time, Clear Lake Shores did fill the entire schedule, so that was awesome, and we hope to continue to do that. When it comes to fire marshal, still conducting a search for fire marshal. I met with a qualified candidate. Kevin sat in with that, and we're awaiting some additional documents from him, but moving forward, try to find a suitable replacement. Well, last Thursday I did attend Olson & Olson's local government training. It's usually really good because they can condense things that have happened over the year and problems that have developed and loopholes that people have exploited, and they can give us the high flyover so we can make adjustments to our policies. So that was very fruitful, and I have my notes I haven't transcribed over, but I'll be working on that. But we are sitting in good shape. And on a related note, the city is currently mid-audit for our financial, our fiscal year 2019. That's common, happens every year, and we anticipate to have them on site for probably another week, maybe 5 days. And then it takes some time for them to kind of grind the numbers, but they're doing all the site work right now. Do you have any questions?
Brent, regarding Tyndall, I had passed along a concern of one of our residents, John Barnett, regarding the Tyndall drainage, and it looks like after the meeting the contractor wasn't there, and so Cobb Finley was going to go back with the contractor and get together with them with our concerns. Did you get a chance to reach back out to him, or can I do that for us?
No, right now we're trying to address that issue. We know it's a known issue. That was originally, Tyndall was originally designed to be at the same elevation as it goes into the street, and we're trying to grab the water that's on the street. We can't drain everything from people, and so our problem is that it's spilling over, getting down that driveway or whatever. The problem is that all slants towards the bayou anyway, the channel. So we're working against nature, but that's been identified.
Okay,
that's
perfect. That's what I need.
Trying
it's
to
been
work
identified. We're trying to work through it so that we can get back with him.
It's a problem that it's an unanticipated problem. I don't think it was necessarily planned that this was going to be a problem, but this was another example of trying to, we didn't dig down and stabilize that area, and it got a lot of rain on it, and it's a very wet location. It's wetter than probably any place else over here on this side of the bridge. So just the soil composition and everything.
But you feel Cobb Finley has a pretty good handle on our concerns?
They understand all our concerns.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brent.
You're welcome.
All right, next is number 5, public comments. At this time, any persons with city-related business may speak to the council. We have any? Ms. Linda Michalski.
Thank you. Linda Michalski, 126 East Shore. I'd like to bring before the council the city-related business in regards to living space built under the base flood elevation. I've lived here 30 years. I know how I built my personal home at 1019 North Shore Drive. I built it at the time in total compliance with the building officials' instructions, and I was allowed to build living space under the base flood elevation. I am requesting to clear up any misunderstandings for the future that all homes in the city of Clear Lake Shores that were built after 1970 be grandfathered, whether they have permits or not, for the living space within their homes. I believe that this is in the best interest for all of the citizens in the city of Clear Lake Shores. Thank you.
All right, item number 6, new business consent agenda. Oh, sorry, didn't see your hand.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Got to be in the right spot here. Okay. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, staff. My name is Mark Johnson. I'm the senior pastor of Life Fellowship. And a few months ago, I came and we had a full intention of purchasing 902 Marina Bay Drive. And after doing our due diligence, we decided that that probably was not a good fit for us. But one of the hardest decisions, or this decision was made harder by you guys embracing of us and your graciousness to try to help us and work with us. And I didn't want to just disappear without thanking all of you for your support. And who knows, we may end up in your community after all at some point in time. But I was just really, really touched and impressed by the welcome of the community and everyone here. So I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, item number 6, new business consent agenda, is items A and B.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda item A and B.
I'll second.
Christie made a motion, Angie made a second. All in favor? Unanimous. All right, item number 7, council business discussion, possible action may be taken on the following items. Resolution 2020-01, a resolution of City Council of the City of Clear Lake Shores, Texas, authorizing Galveston County Mosquito Control District aerial spraying for the abatement of mosquitoes. And this is something that we do annually to allow them to do their spraying within our city.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-01 for the City Council to approve the Galveston County Mosquito aerial spraying.
I second.
Angie made a motion, Jan second, all in favor? Unanimous. All right, item B, ordinance 2020-01, an ordinance of the City of Clear Lake Shores, Texas, amending Chapter 66, Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Place, Article 5, City Parks, Section 66-140, Shell Bottom Park, Jarboe Bayou Park, additional regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clear Lake Shores, Texas, by adopting the modification of Chapter 66. Mr.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah.
That's quite a mouthful.
Yeah.
As I said before, this is a change. Those pool rules were set by ordinance, and so this is a modification to adjust those pool rules and move forward. All of those rules, the ones that are not noted in the modification, are still in effect. There's a large list if you look at the full ordinance of it, and all of the changes in the current ones that are in the ordinance do meet the Texas Administrative Code requirements for a public swimming pool. They're worded a little differently. We split eating. You cannot eat and drink in a pool or consume food and drink in a pool. We split it into 2 different things, but they are all accounted for.
So I'd like to make a motion to discuss before we approve, because I have questions.
A second.
So my first question, Brent, is on the first one, Section 3B2D. Previously, it said that a minimum of 2 lifeguards shall be on duty, and we're changing it to just saying seasonal lifeguards are available.
Yes, seasonal lifeguards, because it would be subject to change. We may not have 2 lifeguards. You know, as I'm trying to look further out, can have seasonal lifeguards, or you may not have seasonal lifeguards. You may go to a card-only pool if
But doesn't
a
our
budget would.
contract with
That
them
was my next
say
question. Doesn't our contract say that we have,
we're required to have 2 lifeguards?
I have a contract with the pool company, yes, that's annually renewed.
Yeah, I think they'll just
Yeah, but
enter.
in that contract, it should say that it's...
It does,
Okay.
but yeah,
but that
you
doesn't,
can do that, that's above and beyond this. It's not a
Okay.
requirement to reflect that.
So you're just saying going forward, if
I
we would
have-
be in a contract with somebody else that wouldn't have that
You don't
stipulation
have-
in it, then we don't have
Let's-
to
let's say
rewrite the
that,
ordinance.
let's say that we lose
Okay.
a large portion of our sales tax for whatever reason, and we have to do budgetary cuts. You know, that's a big chunk of money. We can go to a maintenance only, and we can go to seasonal lifeguards
got it.
at certain times of the year. We can scale back that, and it allows us to do that. Doesn't put us on the hook for having 2 lifeguards all the time.
The contract is what tells us that we have 2 lifeguards.
Correct.
Okay.
And that is still in effect, and it is current. It can be adjusted if need be, but I have no intention of
Okay.
adjusting.
What were you gonna say, Kurt?
And the Texas Administrative Code also requires two lifeguards
Mhm.
while they're on duty.
On duty.
Yeah,
Okay.
You can't have one because.
just by themselves.
Yeah, you have to.
The paragraph B2F where you added appropriate city personnel may also fill this role.
Yeah, let me get
What do you
down.
mean by that? When staffed, appropriate city personnel?
When
Is
they're,
that-
well, like if we have, it's unstaffed, say, it's after hours, after lifeguards would be there. Police show up and there's a problem, they can tell people to leave.
Got it.
If we have, authorized personnel, myself, even our public works guys, if they recognize that something's gone, they're empowered to, intervene because they have to protect the city asset as well.
Okay.
So if I have a kid that's climbing on top of the pergolas and acting like a monkey, the way it's read now, the lifeguards tell them to leave. Well, I want,
If it's out of season or whatever.
and it
got
can be in
Okay.
season, as long as it's observed, and we can go ahead and intervene,
Okay.
take appropriate measures.
B2I, how does that differ from B2C1?
Let me, catch up to you.
So the first line says, children aged 12 and under must be supervised by a parent or guardian. And this one says, children 12 years or younger must be accompanied by a competent person of at least 18 years of age, even when lifeguards are on duty. I feel like those 2 statements contradict each other, but maybe I'm misinterpreting.
With the parent and guardian, the pool, when we covered this with the pool committee, they felt it was important to have a pool, parent or guardian present to intervene on a child's behalf as a minor, not have an 18-year-old kid responsible for a handful of,
So then do we need that B2I line?
Is this this is,
This is the one that says children 12 years or old or younger must be accompanied by a competent person of at least 18 years of age, even when lifeguards are on duty. We're saying up in this other one that 12-year-olds have to be accompanied by an adult or by a parent or a guardian. Now we're saying, no, they just have to be accompanied by an 18-year-old. So which is it? I guess is my question.
Mhm.
I would have to go in there and look at that. I can't see it on my screen right here. I didn't recognize that was a conflict.
So it needs to, I would say it needs to, they need to reflect and match,
Or just take out,
That's-
or just strike
or just strike it out
the
completely.
B2I, where,
B2I.
because if the pool committee felt that it should be a parent, then I think we need to keep that statement. And then my last question is, with regards to the line about B2O about smoking, and vaping, do we say tobacco use in general? Or do we care if people are, I don't know how many people dip these days, but that's what I would say too. Instead of just limiting it to no tobacco smoking, tobacco
No.
use, smoking or vaping, I agree.
Didn't get in there.
Okay.
And
That-
maybe, and
that-
then just going back to the Manosing, the B2C1 and the B2I, just check the indentions on there. I think the top one was intended for when lifeguards are on duty versus when it's just Keys Club.
I see.
See, the pool has 2 modes of operation. There's a lifeguards on duty, open to public, and then a Keys Club, where you're letting
I
yourself in
see.
privately. So we just need to make sure that the Bs are,
They match.
yeah.
Right, okay. Okay, those were my questions.
Sorry
Slash
for those,
That's
for that
okay, that's
confusion.
why we have this discussion.
All right, any other further discussion?
So I made a motion initially to discuss, so I'll make a motion to approve based on this conversation and our recommended changes. And I can give you this sheet if you need this,
Okay.
Brent.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Amanda made a motion, Angie made a second, all in favor? Unanimous. And meeting's